Welcome to another Boyish Rant. Last week, Boris Johnson introduced a new COVID rating system in order to simplify the instructions coming out of Downing Street. This new rating system ranks current restriction measures from 1 to 3, categorising them as spicy, very spicy, and holy fuck stay inside you peasants. The BBC released a map today so you can see just how shagged your area truly is, but for the sakes of Boris, I'm going to be covering one area in particular in this video. London!
You sound like you're from London.
On Thursday, Health Secretary Mancock moved London from spicy to very spicy, adding that he hopes London will only be in Tier 2 for a short while. So Birmingham, Manchester, go fuck yourself. In London, infection rates are on a steep upward path, with cases doubling every 10 days. And with these new restrictions that Boris is bringing in, London is very quickly becoming a melting pot of confusion and pointless autistic demonstrations. Last Saturday, thousands of anti-mask protesters took to the streets to protest the new restrictions, holding up signs like "No Gestapo policing" and "No more 5G." This crowd isn't going to be winning any intellectual awards anytime soon. It's an incredibly diverse grouping in this protest too. The sign saying "Swift justice for the unjust, torturing and killing of babies." That's an odd message for this crowd without context. Then there was this fellow with this weird hat. What is that, like a trilby or a wizard's hat? Is he a black wizard? A member of Hufflepuff? The protest was enough to call in the Rozzers with special tactics like the deadliest of all tools, the camera on a stick. And the look on this woman's face screams the antithesis of conviction. And looking at the people in this crowd, yeah, I'm alright losing them. There's also awful lot of white people here. It's almost like being able to be this irate over something as innocuous as 5G is a white issue. Let me explain. Okay, I wasn't going to cover this till later about the app, but I'm getting fucking called during this. This wasn't planned. These motherfuckers... Wait, I'll get to that fucking section. Imagine you're young, black, and living in a shitty suburb of London. Not counting the pressures that you're going to feel any day already, having the time and stock to worry about something so menial as 5G or mandatory masks, it's almost like a privilege to have the time and stock to be worried about something so small. Anyway, I'm going off subject. In attendance at this protest was Piers Corbyn, brother of Jeremy. And though he is an odd chap to talk about, Jeremy's never going to be Prime Minister, and so, much like Boris and the Brexit talks, there's no point talking about this really. Tier 2 restrictions means that pubs and restaurants must be cleared and empty by 10 p.m, leading to a massive increase in drunken crimes in areas that are in this category. Just last Saturday, the Met Police were seen piling drinkers out of pubs and onto the streets before the 10 p.m. curfew. Unfortunately, they struggled to get the drunk assholes home, which has led to things escalating in the capital. It has also led to some fucking fantastic content. This utter Chad thought it was a great idea to down his tinny right in front of the Rozzers and was shocked when he was promptly arrested. Though he is white, it's probably his first time. We had one man who was so drunk he forgot where he was and thought he was in Belarus.
Are we in Minsk or are we in London? I'm struggling to tell the difference.
Fortunately, he did show up later, so drunk that his audio was out of sync.
Minsk! London has become Belarus. There are tables full in every direction that you look of people drinking alcohol.
The streets were filled with all sorts of nutters, including Mr. Piers Corbyn.
Here to drink against the curfew, to oppose the lockdowns, all the lockdowns, oppose job losses caused by lockdowns, oppose all of it. The whole lot should be lifted now. There's no such thing as a coronavirus.
There's no such thing as a coronavirus. And the whole night is topped off by this utter chode.
Tomorrow, 21st, we're celebrating tomorrow. The whole reason it's been changed, more testing. They haven't made those stats clear that more people are being tested, and that's the reason all the cases are going up.
Wrong. Testing numbers have gone up because we're now able to be more aware of new COVID cases. That doesn't mean that they aren't still active COVID cases, though.
It's not actually really getting any worse.
Yes, it is.
Herd immunity, the whole thing's rubbish.
I don't know what your point is there.
The government, they can't handle themselves.
You got me in a box here. But to tell you the truth, the ending is so tasty I had to smother myself in chocolate and hundreds of thousands just to distract myself.
Voting Boris Johnson was the worst decision of my life.
Boris's three-finger bum blast now has the ageing sphincter of Manchester in its sights, with talks ongoing throughout the day. Northern officials still reject restrictions placed on them by Westminster. In a move that felt straight out of Game of Thrones, when Game of Thrones was good, the North told the dirty shandy-drinking southern bastards to keep your fucking hands off our land. The North remembers. Boris's track and trace app is also a load of shite. I've been using it for work the last couple of weeks, and I've had maybe 3 to 4 different calls a day from different companies saying about accidents I've been in, or insurance, or debt. In fact, one that I'll put before this that happened whilst I was recording, which, again, wasn't planned. This is because the government is selling off your data and info to third-party users and scam companies, advertisers. I looked into this, and even if you adjust all your settings on the app, there's still no way of stopping the government from doing this. And also, the police has access to it too. In the end, Boris is failing on a number of fronts. From lockdowns to protests, from restrictions to fathering bastards, Boris's ineptitude has been put on display for all to see now. And though we're not due an election day for another couple of years, I can't see Boris being the one to lead the Tories when election day arrives. How he'll go is a mystery. Corona couldn't do it. And I'm convinced the only reason no one's tried assassinating him yet is because he looks like he'd take a bullet to the head and keep moving. And I hope things in London improve, but with progress moving slower than British weed legalisation, an NHS that's more crippled than the Queen's gusset, and a population that insists we fight amongst ourselves whilst the privileged elite watch from the rafters like some kind of Westminster Thunderdome, I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope.